Yes.
Creative way of empowering women. Of all of the projects which the UN funds around the world, this is the one dearest to our heart. It's the one we're most proud of, and it's the one that we intend to take to the rest of the world so that they can learn from what you have achieved.
The one critical way to survive in a changing environment is to make sure that you have the skills to survive in a changing environment. So we need to continuously either update our skill or acquire new skills to survive in this kind of an environment. Our research and development lab is called Amachi Labs, Amrita Multimodal Applications and Computer-Human Interaction Labs. We are a multidisciplinary group of about 85 people. We have engineers of every shade and color. We have artists, we have artisans, we have videographers, we have psychologists, we have anthropologists, all working together with one focus is skill development. In vocational skill, there's a huge component that is what you have to do with your hands. Right? So how do you teach them how to do something with their hands but using technology? We built our own first haptic device in India. We call it the APTA, which is the linear haptic device. It can simulate about 18 different tools in the construction trade. And from there, we kind of started making a whole bunch of prototypes. MOVE is a solar-powered classroom designed to carry vocational education to the doorstep of tribals in remote settlements. What was amazing was that we were able to take the training to 500 tribals in 7 villages in a span of a month. My Sangam is an online community of learning and practice. It connects individuals to the world of skills, mentors, and potential employers. Of things that we are really proud of. We have trained India's first women plumbers. We have built the first haptic simulator in the country. We have had women from tribal areas start their own Kickstarter campaigns to fund their businesses. But at the end of the day, what is the most important thing is that we learn as much as we teach. That's in a nutshell all the technologies that we work on. And like I said, our field work is predominantly women empowerment, and we work in the villages of India. We are right now in 21 villages of India, and we're expanding to 101 villages as of this year. And we do all kinds of training, but I will focus on just one of our projects, which is the... okay. I'm having serious technology issues for somebody quite familiar with technology. Oh, okay. All right. So it's a particular project that's very dear to my heart. It's a project on rural sanitation. And I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the sanitation condition in India. India is supposed to have the largest group of people who have practiced open defecation. 597 million Indians practice open defecation. I'm sure that in the US that number is even hard enough to comprehend. The problem is that it's not that there are no toilets. In a lot of places there are no toilets, but in a lot of places people just don't want to use toilets because they don't have the culture of using toilets. They consider it dirty to go inside an enclosed place that is close to your home. They're used to going really far out into the fields. But now that poses a lot of problems. Being women and hearing a lot of the stories, you can understand there are issues with security, there are issues with distance. You have to go either early in the morning or late at night if you want to relieve yourself. It's a question of dignity. It's the question of health and security. And it's kind of hard for us to actually get all these points across to the women. And it's something that we started looking at. Yeah, so we kind of have a very roundabout way of doing everything that we do. It's kind of very involved. We don't do just training, we don't just use technology, but we kind of have a very holistic approach. This is a very busy slide, but I'll go into each of it one by one. So first we start with awareness campaigns. So we go into the villages. We have to build trust with the villagers. They should know why we are there, what we have to offer, what it is that they gain from them, that we don't use them as showpieces for something that we are doing. So these are all these kind of things that we have to address. And even for them to want to have toilets or want to have sanitation, it's something that needs to come from them and not from us. So what we do is of course, we tell them who we are and why we are there. And then we make them kind of draw out what they want as an ideal village. So we call this the ideal village exercise. And all the women who come to our program, they conceptualize what their idea of a perfect village is. And then we take it from there. It's almost always, we're almost sure of this because it's happened every single time we've done it. It always boils down to health. The women are always concerned about their children's health, and they don't have the liquid cash to pay for it when their child gets sick. And so that's the point we start on. We start on health. And most often it is intestinal problems. And I'm sure you've read so many articles about open defecation in India and how it's leading to malnutrition and deformed birth and birth defects and cognitive defects. And we catch them at that point, and then we tell them, one of the first things that you could do is to have sanitation and clean water. And from there we start working with them. And we also do a lot of games and exercises, teaching them just sanitation practices and build that relation. And eventually we sign up a bunch of women who are willing to work on the sanitation project with us. And when we first started, everybody told us that it was not possible and nobody was going to come forward to do it. But every time we have gone into the field, this is the kind of response we've received. There's like 70 to 80 people who sign up for the course every time we offer it. Some exceptions, but mostly this has been the case. So we start what we call as a training. Like I said in the video, it's most important to build the capacity of that place. You can go in and do something for them, but really to make it sustainable, they should be able to do it for themselves. And so we really believe in capacity building, and I think it's one of the key steps to empowerment. And so what we do is we teach the women to build their own toilets. So they undergo courses in masonry, plumbing, plastering. If they have toilets already, then they take a course in either soap making. And we kind of round this all up with what we call as life enrichment education. Life enrichment education deals with social issues that they have and how they can actually overcome those social issues. Yeah. And to do the training, of course, we build the technologies back at home, right? And the technologies are not entirely built. It's an iterative process where we build something, we deploy it, we get the feedback, we see what people understand, what they don't understand. So there's a lot of research that goes into user interaction design, user interface design, in pedagogy. How can you actually teach a rural woman who's barely literate something like plumbing? And so there's a constant research that goes on, and we come up with all these products, and that we take them to the field. And it's actually an incentivizer. People are happy that they have something to play with. They have a tablet to play with, and they're learning something high-tech. So that itself is a huge, it makes them feel empowered already when they have that little tablet in their hands. And so we start off the training with that, and wherever it's applicable, we give them training on simulators. It's not always the case, but wherever it is, we give them. Here are some girls learning carpentry, and of course it's a blended learning approach. So they learn things in the classroom at the same time they learn by doing things, because that's how vocational training is. You actually have 70% of the time where you do things with your hand and 30% when you actually learn with the thing. But the way we teach them is very competency based, so you actually teach them how to do things as opposed to a very theory heavy course, and we find that people actually learn it much easier this way. Yeah, the thing is that it's fine, I can say I'm going to teach you something, but I would like you to remember that these are people who are agricultural laborers. They barely get 150 rupees per day annually. 150 rupees per day is what, less than $1? $2 per day. How you can't really expect them to give up their day jobs to come and study. So I can maximum glean like 2 hours out of them a day. And they give me those 2 hours, and in those 2 hours, I have to make sure that they learn. But they should have something more than just learning, right? I can tell them you can get a job 3 months down the road and you can make 500 rupees per day, but that's not enough. So what happens is everybody who signs up for the course gets a toilet in their own house. So they first start by building their own toilets. So at the end of the course, they have a toilet. And so that's a huge incentive. So first is to get them to want to have a toilet and then get them to build their own toilet. So that's kind of what we do. So they learn how to build their own toilet. And when they've built about 4 toilets and they have some level of proficiency, we conduct an assessment. Once they have finished with the assessment and they clear the assessment, then they're paid for every other toilet that they build. So they start earning money for whatever their skills have. And it's quite amazing that these women are really very good. I mean, I've had masons come and tell me that I'm going to hire these women, especially in plastering skills. Plastering skills are very expensive skills. Actually, they pay you 600 rupees per day for plastering. And these women can master it in a day. I have seen it with my own eyes. They're good, they're clean, they're perfectionists. I'm a little biased. Yeah, but the thing is, I said that we also teach them life enrichment education, which is asking them to define what their problems are locally and then try to find solutions to their problems. It's important that we do both these together. Just vocational training and economic empowerment is not enough. We have to make sure we kind of give them some kind of socio-democratic education. What are your rights? What it is to mean? What does it mean to live comfortably as a human being? And that they always come up with some things that are common problems that I've noticed across India, and then we encourage them to come up with solutions for those problems. The main problem, I'm not sure how well this audience would understand it, but the main problem in India that has surfaced across every single village we have visited is alcoholism, alcohol abuse. I don't want to sound biased when I say it, but men get drunk, they drink their entire wages, they come back and they get abusive with their families, and they don't give money back for raising the children or for a rainy day. And both the children and the mothers express this as their greatest... Okay, I'm not even... I told you, I take a long time. So the other thing is, so they kind of had an awareness campaign on alcoholism. They also managed to clean up their entire communities. The entire community got together, cleaned up all the drainage that was stuck. And then maintenance. So you teach them how to maintain their pits, the latrine pits, and how to maintain the toilets, manage their own inventory, and then entrepreneurship. They form women's self-help groups and they start businesses where they can go and build toilets. Some of them are even smarter. They learn how to make bricks and they sell bricks to the ones who are building the toilets. So there's a second business going on over there. Okay, it's just 2 minutes more and done. And so basically it's a community. It becomes the whole community gets involved in the sanitation drive. The children start learning to wash their hands every time they use their bathroom. I want to tell this story about this lady who made it from like very low literacy. She went through the toilet building course. She actually climbed. She was the first woman in the group to actually climb over the roof and then set the roof. It's kind of hard for them to take a step and kind of go to a higher area. But once one person does it, then everyone does it. But finding that one person who will move up is the challenge. And this lady is called Sakri Ben. So by the time we came back to the village next time, she had built her own kitchen with the help of 2 other ladies. And then she went and enrolled herself at an ITI, which is a free government training institution, so that she can get herself certified for higher skills. And that's Sakri Ben's story.